What did we watch on Saturday with college football? Oh, how the mighty have fallen. There was some major upsets that happened, and they just kept falling and falling and falling. What a week for OU to be on a bye week, thank goodness. Let's break on down what we actually saw on Saturday and who struggled the most. Lacey's lineup, college edition, Upset Saturday starts right now. All right, we're going to start breaking down these upsets. And these are in no particular order. I think they were all bad in their own certain ways. Maybe I do have a favorite that went down. I'll disclose that later. But let's start. First one, 11 o'clock or big noon, right, in the Eastern time. Missouri falls to a ranked Texas A&M team. They were 15, but it was not even close, guys. I mean, from the get-go, it just got uglier and uglier. Yes, A&M has, I mean, it's a SEC matchup, and so we think that it's going to be a good game. We were not expecting this blowout. I mean, it was terrible, Missouri fans. You should definitely be worried. This is a bad sign from Missouri, I think. But they came in and A&M just dominated this performance, and they made Missouri look like craze. We thought this was going to be the craziest of the day. Let's just wait and see what else happened the rest of the day. Missouri falls to Texas A&M, first time on Saturday. Bama. What? This can't be real life. You literally just came off of a dominating performance against Georgia. Georgia. You beat Georgia. And you turn around and lose to Vanderbilt? I mean, they were flashing. The crowd was crazy. They were absolutely crazy. But they started flashing Nick Saban saying the only non-bad place to play in the SEC is Vanderbilt. You guys got embarrassed. Embarrassed. It looked terrible. What happened to the team the week before? I'm not taking anything away from Vanderbilt. Actually, I want to study them and see how they did it. But if you're watching that game, it was really Alabama that lost it for themselves. Vanderbilt just capitalized on all their mistakes. But come on, Alabama. You beat Georgia. You take over the number 1 spot, and then you turn around and lose to an unranked Vanderbilt? Ouch. I'm telling you, it just kept happening. All these teams just kept, I mean, it was like the curse on Saturday. I think teams were starting to be afraid that we're not going in as the underdog to play in these games, and rightfully so. Next up, we had Tennessee and Arkansas. Tennessee had been dominating from the get-go. They did struggle some with OU, which we all know that was a big hostile environment. They played a depleted OU and actually put up their lowest score. So they've kind of been up and down on what they, I think, are capable of doing. But you got another SEC matchup, and nothing to take away from Arkansas. Arkansas battles, and they battle with every team, but they just tend to come up short in the end. Not this time. Arkansas defeats Tennessee for another underdog to take over a high-seeded team. Tennessee was our next victim. Next, we had last year's national championship rematch. It was Michigan versus Washington. Michigan has been struggling. They obviously are missing Harbaugh as their coach. They graduated a lot of people, and I think a lot of people entered the portal because the coach was leaving. Michigan fans are in an uproar right now. They are not used to losing, and it seems to be happening a lot this season. But they did kind of redeem themselves after the first, actually really when Texas beat them down. They came back alive, but that was not the case on Saturday. Washington came in, rematch. and they took the victory. Michigan looked sloppy. They couldn't get things going, and it was just a hot mess express from the get-go. Washington defeats Michigan to give us another upset, and we're not even done yet. I still have another upset to talk about. This day was so crazy. And the last upset that I want to talk about, which actually was my favorite upset, because anyone that knows I'm an OU fan, and when you're an OU fan, you don't like anything that Lincoln Riley does. After he did us dirty, we wish the worst on him. And it was sweet victory when we watched him fall on Saturday to Minnesota. Guys, Minnesota is not a school of good football. Sorry, Minnesota fans, but you just aren't. We're not somebody that we worry about, and it's not a big matchup. Now, I will say, you guys have been impressive, so maybe you're turning the tides over there. But thank you, Minnesota fans. Thank you, Minnesota football, for taking down Lincoln Riley and USC on Saturday, which really completed my night and made me so happy that he went home losing that game. So insane, right? So many upsets. And thank you for USC closing out the night with my favorite upset of the day. That was a lot for one day of football. So many upsets. And it was like, oh my God, did you see this person lose? And then we would text and be like, oh my gosh, the next person lost. I mean, it was just continuing. Like I said, I'm glad OU was off, but they are coming in off this bye week. And I'm hoping they took notes from all those underdogs being victorious last week. And I hope it continues on, because we got, I think, the biggest matchup of the year. Not only is it bragging rights, but it's OU Texas. It's Red River rival. Texas has been welcomed into the SEC with open arms. OU is like the stepchild that nobody wants. I know we're depleted, OU. I know that we are struggling in a lot of positions. Our defense is stellar. I think we've made the right call with the quarterback. It doesn't matter what you have. That environment, if you haven't been there, it's one you want to witness in person. It's Sooner magic, baby. And I just pray, one, it's a good game, because we've definitely seen some blowouts in the past. But let's go in as the underdog, take notes from what the teams did last week, and show that we can win this game. God, what I will be jumping for joy, guys, next week if that somehow happens. But we're going to see. It's going to be a tough hill to climb, but anything's possible, right? Thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully this weekend is just as eventful as last weekend. I like seeing all the shakeups. It makes it obviously more entertaining, and the polls moving. I will say the polls were a little too nice on the Alabamas, only dropping them a couple spots. Come on. You got to give them more than that. They lost to a very unranked team. So we'll see, polls. Let's get it together and make sure we got the best top 12 teams when it comes to playoff time. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys have another great week of watching football. Be cheering for my Sooners that they can pull off this miracle upset. And I can't wait to be back with you guys next week. Until then, your girl is signing off. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go Sooners.